As Donald Trump's war on everything continues, did the Supreme Court just hand him a defeat and his nemesis Gavin Newsom a win in their last man standing battle to rig California? I have the answer and all the details for you next. I'm Dan and welcome to another Occupy Democrats report. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button for updates on everything that's
Donald Trump's fault.
This report is a good news, bad news story for those who have been following Republican efforts to rig future elections at the direction of Trump. Let's get the bad news out of the way by way of Texas, and then I'll share how Donald's directed gerrymandering is blowing up in his face in the Golden State.
Now, the nation's highest court sides with Texas Republicans in an unsigned order restoring the state's newly drawn congressional map, for now at least. The map could add 5 GOP House seats. In a social media post, Governor Greg Abbott wrote this, quote, "We won. Texas is officially and legally more red. The new congressional districts better align our representation in Washington, D.C. with the values of our state." CBS News Executive Director of White House and Politics, Finn Gomez, joins us now from our D.C. bureau to digest all of this. Finn, good morning. Great to see you. It might be confusing to some viewers because the lower court ruled that the Texas new maps were unconstitutional. The Supreme Court rules actually no, they're fine. So what does this mean for Texans and the balance of power?
What it means is that, after the Supreme Court said Thursday that Texas can use its new gerrymandered House map in the upcoming midterm elections, that likely will yield as many as 5 additional seats for Republicans in the battle for control of the House. It's a major political win, Errol, for the president and a boost for his bid to preserve the narrow Republican majority in the House by urging Republican-led states to conduct this atypical mid-decade redistricting aimed at shrinking the number of Democrats in congressional delegations and improving their chances at holding that majority. Reaction has been sharply divided, Errol. Republicans are celebrating this as a victory, of course, and boosting, again, their prospects for next year's elections. Democrats and civil rights groups are furious, calling it a green light for racial gerrymandering and warning it weakens protections for voters of color. And nationally, I spoke to strategists on both sides who say the ruling now will influence other redistricting battles in other states beyond Texas.
Right, yeah, some of this happening all over the country.
So a Republican win, right? Well, let's hold off on popping the GOP corks according to a Raw Story headline that reads, Supreme Court just signaled GOP's last-minute gambit against Gavin Newsom will fail. Buried in a concurrence by the 3 farthest right justices was a clear indicator that the GOP's efforts to stop California's retaliatory map will also fail. The line came in a passage written by Justice Samuel Alito, joined by Justices Clarence Thomas and Neil Gorsuch. And then I discovered this video by independent journalist Lisa Remillard, who expertly breaks down what it signals for California.
Gerrymander away! Go ahead, Texas! That's what the Supreme Court just ruled today. The justices said, at least after their preliminary look at the case, Texas can absolutely use their brand new gerrymandered map that eliminated 5 Democratic districts in Texas and created 5 new Republican districts for the upcoming midterm election. Now, while this ruling is definitely a win for the Republicans in the state of Texas, it may be foreshadowing a loss for President Trump and the Republican Party in California. So I'm going to explain that in a second. But first, now it's important for you to understand that the Supreme Court has said gerrymandering is absolutely legal. States can absolutely gerrymander congressional maps for purely political reasons, meaning the political party in charge can draw new district lines to benefit their own party. But the Constitution of the United States and several federal laws say you cannot gerrymander for racial reasons, meaning you cannot gerrymander voters out of districts with the intent and goal of diluting the voting power of certain racial groups. Well, after taking a quick look at this case on their shadow docket, the Supreme Court said today, nope, Texas did not use race to gerrymander this new map, that the lower court did not give Texas state legislators the benefit of the doubt about their motivations for why they were gerrymandering, and most importantly, they said Texas can use the new Republican-friendly gerrymandered map during the upcoming midterms. The majority said the district court improperly inserted itself into an active primary campaign, causing much confusion and upsetting the delicate federal-state balance in elections. The court's order did not include a vote count, which which is typical for rulings on emergency cases. But Justice Alito did write a concurring opinion, which was joined by Justices Gorsuch and Thomas. That's going to become important in a second. Just hang on. The order also includes a dissent written by Justice Kagan and joined by Justices Sotomayor and Jackson. In that dissent, Justice Kagan blasts this ruling, saying that the lower court took a lot of time hearing the evidence and forming a very lengthy, fact-based 160-page opinion. And she says the Supreme Court's conservatives have disrespected the lower court in Texas, writing, "This court reverses that judgment based on its perusal over a holiday weekend of a cold paper record. We are a higher court than the district court, but we are not a better one when it comes to making such a fact-based decision." And not only did she say the Supreme Court's conservatives disrespected the Texas federal court judges, she also said they disrespected Texas voters. Today's order disserves the millions of Texans whom the district court found were assigned to their new districts based on their race. Because this court's precedents and our Constitution demand better, I respectfully dissent. So bottom line, Texas can use their new gerrymandered map. But what I think may be equally important in this ruling today is just one line from Justice Alito's concurring opinion that may be foreshadowing a loss for President Trump and the Republican Party in California. Now, we know that the president and the Republican Party in California are suing the state of California over Prop 50. That was the ballot initiative that passed overwhelmingly by California voters back in November that allows the state of California to balance out Texas's gerrymandering by gerrymandering the crap out of California's map as well. In California, this new map eliminates 5 Republican districts and creates 5 new Democratic districts. Of course, Republicans in California and the President of the United States sued California over this new map, saying, just like in the Texas case, that the state of California is using race as the basis of the redistricting. Well, in his concurring opinion, super conservative Justice Samuel Alito says what's good for the goose is good for the gander. He writes in support of Texas's ability to gerrymander their map, "It is indisputable that the impetus for the adoption of the Texas map, like the map subsequently adopted in California, was partisan advantage, pure and simple." And just as I explained, a partisan gerrymandering is completely legal, which is a pretty strong statement from this conservative justice that what Texas is doing is legal and what California is doing is legal too.
Trump and Texas Republicans thought they had pulled off the perfect heist with their gerrymander power play. But Gavin Newsom performed some brilliant sleight of hand of his own, and now it looks like the Supreme Court will declare it even Steven, and the GOP's double standard argument will collapse under the weight of its own hypocrisy. It is always satisfying when Trump is met with resistance or defeat, especially at the hands of the Supreme Court. But when one party has to resort to extreme measures to counter the party that is being ruled with extremism, it is far less satisfying. Balance shouldn't require matching Trump's chaos. It should come from a system that isn't broken in the first place.